How have you found being your own boss?
Yeah, don't have to do performance reviews for people, and it's fantastic. I love it.
Not good.
They're not. The only performance review I do is on myself, always looking at what I'm doing and how to improve. But no, I love being my own boss. Like I said before, I've got 3 girls now. They're under the age of 18, so my hands are full there. So I've got netball runs and boxing nights and all that sort of stuff. All these other activities the kids do. So it's good that I can actually be home and doing that sort of stuff, cooking dinner, spending time with the kids, because they're only young ones. So I want to make the most of it. Being my own boss has enabled me to do that. Plus, it also gives me the rewards of the harder I work, the more money I make.
We're joined by Nathan today in the Jim's Mowing and Jim's Group podcast. And you're from Jim's Mowing in Harndorf, which is a beautiful part of the world in South Australia as well. And we're talking off camera before. So before we go into the traditional questions, which we normally do, you're a bit of a muso. So let's talk about a little bit about your music career and your band and give that a bit of a plug and what you've got there.
Yeah, so for so many years, I reckon it's been 20 years or so, the drummer and myself played in various bands. We met in high school and we started off just doing Metallica cover shows and that sort of thing just around school. And then it just developed into one band that we played. It was called Dominion for many years, a few name changes and a few lineup changes, and became Ice on Mercury for many years, touring around Australia, mainly Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide. Living the dream, I guess, we're loving it. Still play guitar. We're doing a bit of we actually, after quite a few years, we decided to call it quits. It just got really hard with family commitments, work commitments. So we had to give up on that dream of becoming full-time musos and start doing our own thing individually. So some of the guys continued on to other bands. But it's always good just to look back and listen to the music. My kids now listen to the music, so they love it. It's always good just to revisit some of that. And we're doing a bit of a reunion show in October. So we're going to get back together and I guess suffer through an hour and a half of pain and suffering because we're all getting a lot older, and I think we're all going to be absolutely dead the next day. But no, it's good to finally pick up the guitars again and do a bit of practice and get just back into that mode that we were in, all through our youth.
And what Metallica covers were you doing back in the day?
Basically like Enter Sandman and that sort of thing. Yeah. But now we do a few years of doing some cover shows to make some money in the band, and then tour and record and that sort of stuff. So it's not cheap. So we did cover shows with Green Day covers and Faith No More. All the rock songs, Nirvana that we used to listen to when we were young. We got a few good support shows as well. We did a support show with Black Label Society, which is
Zach Wild's band,
yeah. And then we toured. We supported Seether when they were in Adelaide.
Yep.
Test Eagles back in the day. So
yes.
Yeah, we've had some really good success, and it was good while it lasted. We enjoyed it, so we got to live that rock and roll lifestyle for a few years anyway.
And what was the largest crowd you played in front of? Was it doing the support show for Black Label Society?
We were doing the support ones. We did a couple of festivals as well, which always had good turnouts. But the support shows were always packed. I think probably the most memorable one was Seether. That was a really big show for us. Great audience. Packed out the Governor High Marsh here and in Adelaide, and like I said before, got to live that rock and roll dream, sitting backstage with the guys, and having a drink and eating their food, and living that lifestyle was great just while it lasted for those few nights. But hey, you got to look at it sometimes and go, is it getting too hard? Are we enjoying it? We just decided to, as a group, just to call it a day, and everyone continued on their own way doing other things. I've been playing drums more than anything lately, so we'll see what happens after we do this reunion show, whether we continue on and do a few more.
Oh, cool. And obviously your music is still on Spotify, so people want to do a bit of a search, they can listen to it.
Spotify, iTunes, yep. It's iTunes, that was old school. Apple Music, Stones, Apple Music. So it's all up there still. So jump on, have a listen, and see what we used to do.
Cool. Now, Nathan, let's get into the actual interview. So with Jim's Mowing, so how'd you come to be in Jim's Mowing? Were you working prior, or how'd you come to be there?
So, I was in the telecommunications industry for over 20 years, working in Telstra, and after some time in there and various roles, I think the last one was a lot of traveling. So I just decided that it just wasn't for me anymore. I wanted to get a better work-life balance. Parted ways with that one, and then moved on to, I had a few months off just to regroup. I hadn't decided to join gyms at that stage, or even do this business at all. I just thought, I need to find something else. And I was applying for jobs, and I had an interview for one coming up. Now, I live outside of Adelaide, And I used to work in Adelaide, so driving back and forth. And then I was going for this interview and I was about to go there the next day and I was just getting stuff ready. And I just sat down and thought to myself, do I really want to be doing this? Is this what I want to do? Do I want to be driving down to Adelaide and spending 2 hours of my day every day driving back and forth, in the winter, leaving in the dark, getting home in the dark? 3 young kids, 3 girls under the age of probably 16, 15 at that stage. Is this what I want to do? And I just decided no, I wasn't. Walked out to my wife and I said, hey, I'm not going for this job. And she's like, oh, what are you talking about? I just said, that's not what I want to do. She had some real reservations about what I was deciding to do at that stage. And then I've got 1,500 square metres of lawn area at my place. And I've always enjoyed just getting out there, mowing, fertilising, edging, doing all that sort of stuff. And I took real pride in that. And a lot of people would come over and say, oh, wow, this lawn's fantastic. And it just got me thinking. And I thought, you know what? I really enjoy doing that. Why don't I make that my job? So that's what I did. And I don't know why, but I do know why. The first thing I thought of was gyms. I didn't think of any others. It was just one night I just sat there and I thought, what about a Jim's Mowing franchise? And I just jumped online that night and I was having a look around. And the next morning I just sent a message through and said, hey, I'm interested. Just someone please give me a call, expecting not to hear anything. And it was probably 15 minutes later, I had Shane give us a call, which just absolutely floored me that happened so quick. We just got talking and then I just went out a couple of days in the field and just decided, no, this is what I'm doing.
So with the training then, you've come from a completely unrelated field. You had a bit of a passion for it already, which definitely helps. So how did you find the whole training experience? Because coming from Adelaide, leaving your family, it can be quite scary and for some people, so...
I was really looking forward to the training. I was really looking forward to jumping on a plane, coming over to Melbourne, but my time was when COVID was around. So it was all online. I guess it's part of me still thinks, I should go and do that, even, with 3 years.
You can for free.
I think
Jim is offers off.
I read that just the other day.
Yeah.
I read that just the other day and I thought, what I should do that. I should find the time just to get back over there. And it's, it probably just with having the experience now, it might just be a totally different experience. But so it was all online, which was still great. It was just, you just missed out on that, I guess, face-to-face interaction and in people and talking to people. So I just made sure that I was talking to as many people as I could here, bothering Shane as much as I could, sending him messages, calling him, asking him questions, meeting with some of the local guys that already operate in this area, just doing a little bit of research. But it really just came down to, did I feel comfortable? Of course, I didn't feel comfortable in terms of that it was going to be a massive jump in what I was doing beforehand. But it really came down to the people, the support around me. Do I feel as though that the support will be there and the help will be there? I just jumped in. I really didn't give it much second thought.
And how have you been enjoying it then? You've been going for probably 2.5 years, nearly 3 years now from, actually, so probably more than 3 years from what I'm looking here, 2021 you started.
It is, so probably 3.5 years, I think.
It's a good time in business because that's probably around the middle, let's say the middle point, but like a lot of people, 3 years, that's sort of, you know everything now and you're really well adjusted to it. So how have you found it?
Look, it's like any job, it has its days where you go, oh gosh, what am I doing? And usually that's the days where it's raining or it's 42 degrees. But, I can honestly say 99% of the time I'm waking up, I'm happy to go to work, thoroughly enjoy being outside, talking to people. Really just, I guess, I think this is when I first started, one of the first things I said to people was, I feel like I'm actually just helping people out. And even though you're getting paid for it, you honestly feel like you walk away from jobs and you've got that job satisfaction. And that's what I never really had previously. I had, times where you go, oh yeah, that was good. I did a good job there and got some recognition. Here, there is no better recognition than someone, saying that's fantastic. I love what you do. I'm going to recommend you to somebody else. So for me, job satisfaction and the ability to book your own time and be as busy as you want to be has made a massive difference for me.
You've got a perfect 5-star rating from when I look on the system, 126 ratings, which is great. Perfect 5-star rating from your customers who love you. I read some of the commendations in the survey results before. So what is the key to good customer service from your perspective? Because there's a lot of trade. Like it's interesting because I obviously work for gyms for 14 years. I've had independent people. I use gyms people now. I don't care what I have to pay just because of the difference in standards. So what's the standard like in your business? And maybe do you want to educate people about when they use a Jim's Mowing franchisee, what to expect or how you treat them in your business?
So First part of your question, what I think is important is communication, 100%. If you can't communicate and have good communication, you're going to struggle. For me, it all starts with, and I think my point of differentiation between me and some of those independents is, and you hear this from clients all the time, when you get a new client, you say to them, who was doing this beforehand? Oh, such and such was. And what happened there? I always ask them, and what happened there? And they say, 9 times out of 10, he never called me. He never messaged me. He'd rock up when he wanted to get here. I never knew what he was doing. His pricing would always change based on how long he was here for. I didn't know what he was doing when he was here. So for me, I look at that and I go, well, communication is obviously key to them, knowing what they're going to be paying and getting here when you say you're going to be getting here. And if you're going to be 2 minutes late outside of your 2-hour window that you supplied, so if I say I'm going to be there between 8 and 10, if I'm going to get there at 10:02 and I'm on my way there, I'll send them a message and I'll say, running 2 minutes late, really apologize. I'll be there as soon as I can. Mm-hmm. And, you get there and the client will say, well, you didn't have to message me, but that's just great that you did. Thank you so much. So for me, communication is 100% the key. For how I start the standard that I've set myself is every night before the next day's work, I send out a text message to every person and I say, this is the time that your regular gardening service is going to be tomorrow. I will be there between 8 and 10. The next one between 9 and 11, so give that 2-hour window, get there on time, do a good job, and I keep on saying to people that the things that are really important to me when I'm on the job, straight lines when you're mowing, edging and clean up, and always doing just one extra thing that the client's not expecting. That just there might be some leaves on the driveway. You go through and you blow back the driveway off. It's just a few weeds. And I always would send them a message at the end of the day, say, at the end of the job, all done for today, blew out your driveway for you as well, because I noticed it was looking a bit messy. I think that's just a massive difference, and the client sees that and they think, wow, this guy's great, communicating with me, he's letting me know when he's there, he's letting me know when he's finished, and he's doing some extra stuff for me. That's great. And when they get home and they see the end product, and like I said, nice straight lines with the mowing, beautiful edging done nicely, they look at it and they go, wow, that's great, and they're happy. And that's the standard that I've set for myself, is to make sure that, like, I treat it like it was my lawn. I want nice straight lines, and I've got some people coming over, I want it to look absolutely schmick. So that's just some of the things that I look at when I walk away from the job and I look back at it. I go, yeah, that looks nice.
That's some really good advice there. And I was going to say, how big is your business? Like, how many regulars do you have? Are you full at the moment, or
so
what does your business look like?
I'm at 72 at the moment. It tends to float between 70 and 80, and I'm happy with that number. I know some people have got 100, but being more regional as well, our jobs tend to be a little bit bigger. So the lawns are bigger, the yards are bigger. If you got people that are on 2 acres, 1 acre, and you're mowing their lawns, which might be similar to mine, 1,500 square meters of lawn area, so the jobs are bigger. So I guess, instead of doing 15, 20 jobs a day, I tend to be doing 8 to 10 jobs a day, usually floating somewhere between that 70 and 80 clients. I don't book myself out 100% of the time. I did this to be stress-free. Well, not stress-free. I shouldn't say that, because all those rainy days, and you get a couple of rainy days backing up together, you do start to stress out. How am I going to catch up with work? But, I did this to be less stress. And so for me, I book myself out 4 days a week, and between the hours every day between, say, 7:30 and 3:30, 4 o'clock. And so the 70 to 80 clients tends to work in with that number really well. Only booking myself out for 4 days a week enables me to have a day free. If I get a day free, it's great, but it also means that I can do those one-off jobs. I've still got leads turned on for specific tasks, like rubbish removals and once-off cleanup jobs, because, there's good money in those. So I still leave that day free to do those sort of jobs. Plus also my clients are also always asking for extra jobs to be done. So if I can just say, I'll be there on the Thursday next week, that's my day that I have free, then it just makes it easier. If it does rain on a Monday, I can just pick up that whole Monday and just move it to the next, that day that I've got free that week. So I don't sit there and go, oh my God, I'm going to have to work the weekend now, and because I don't like working weekends, I have to work the weekend now to catch up on all this work. So it just means that I just can pick up days, move jobs around. Just gives me that bit of flexibility. It wasn't always 4 days a week for that first 5, 6 days a week, but now it's at that point where I can pick and choose.
Scale it back a bit, and be way more selective.
Absolutely.
And what software are you using to manage this? Because it sounds like you got a good system where you're texting every night and you're texting follow-ups and stuff. How do you stay on top of that from a management point of view? Because it can be easy to get a little bit lost if you got 8 or 10 different people every day.
It can. I'm just using Jim's Jobs.
Cool.
I think it's a great system. I'm using it for all my invoicing and everything.
Good.
The only thing I don't use it for is for accounting side of things. So I'm using Xero. I've got the integration between Jim's Jobs and Xero.
Awesome.
But I'm using Jim's Jobs for everything. And I think it's a good idea to do so because it's all centralized. We're paying for it. So why not use it? As you've got the good support as well. Yeah. So the guys at Infotech are really good. I just figured, I might as well use that. At the end of every job, I'm on my mobile, I'm sending in the invoice, I'm pressing send and I'm done. I'm not going home that night and going, right, I have to invoice everybody now, going back through my jobs. When I get home, I want to spend time with my family. I don't want to be doing a lot of paperwork and that sort of stuff. So I just use my phone for basically everything and Xero for doing all my reconciling of accounts and all that sort of stuff. And really that's it. Apart from that, I've got short code messages, so just shortcuts. If I'm sending out my booking text, I'll just put BBB and then it brings up a text that I've already generated or created in my phone, and it's already just says there, hi, such and such, put their name in there, and it says your regular gardening services tomorrow, I'll be there between, and I just put the time in there.
Hearing that, because that's the first time I've heard someone saying, probably a few franchisees might be going, how do you do that? So can you just talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's a really good thing that franchisees should do more of.
Yeah, so I've just got keyboard shortcuts, I think I use. So I'm using an iPhone. So I've set it up so you can go in there and you can say, okay, so when I type in BBB for booking, it'll then just populate a text already. And you just add your name, add the time in there and hit send. I've got one for when it's wet weather, so I type in www for wet. I don't know why I've chosen those things, but to me it made sense. And that comes up saying your regular gardening services tomorrow. I'll be there between such and such. As rain is forecasted, may need to reschedule. I'll keep you updated if that's the case. So if I look at the weather the night before and I see that there's rain forecasted, I'll send out that message instead. So it's more of a personalized message, I think, as well. And sometimes you just add a few more things to it.
I think it's great. I think a lot of franchisees, I think more people should do exactly what you said. I think the shortcuts thing, and it's a really good idea.
Oh, it's easy. And most of the time people are on the same time slot, the same day anyway. So you can usually just go to their previous message and just copy it, paste it, send it. Takes you 2 seconds, but it also just gives that person the opportunity, one, to pick up any dog poo that they've got on the lawn. They've got kids out there and they've got toys everywhere. They run outside and they go, I better clean up the lawn and make it look nice for Nathan. He's coming tomorrow. So it gives them a good opportunity to do that as well. So when you get there, you're not having to move trampolines, this pick up dog poo and all that sort of stuff before you start the job.
No, it's a great idea. And how have you found being your own boss? After many years in corporate to Telstra and the drive, you don't have to do the drive anymore. How's it been?
Yeah, don't have to do performance reviews for people. And it's fantastic. I love it.
Not good.
They're not. The only performance review I do is on myself. Always looking at what I'm doing and how to improve. But no, I love being my own boss. Like I said before, I've got 3 girls now they're under the age of 18. So my hands are full there. So I've got netball runs and boxing nights and all that sort of stuff all these other activities the kids do. So it's good that I can actually be home and doing that sort of stuff, cooking dinner, spending time with the kids and, because they're only young ones. So I want to make the most of it. So being my own boss has enabled me to do that. Plus it also gives me the rewards of, the harder I work, the more money I make.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, income-wise, you've been happy with what you've been able to do.
Yeah, really happy. Really happy. I mean, that first year, the income was really good because, you were doing a lot of once-off jobs as well. Now it's sort of steadied. And, I'm pulling back on the hours. So I'm still making the same amount of money that I was in my first year, but doing it with a lot less hours, less customers, less clients as well. So, that's something that I look at every year as well is, am I pricing everybody correctly? And do I need to make some changes to pricing? So, at the end of every year, you just do those reviews and that performance review on yourself and look at where you can make some easy gains in terms of, can I get some more clients? Can I do this extra bit of work? Can I start doing other bits of work to try and make some more money that year?
And so where do you start looking into your business? Because you mentioned some things there which were more franchisees probably ask questions about. But so when you review yourself and your business, are you looking, is it just more increasing rates or are you looking at more profitable types of jobs, or how are you sort of reviewing your business to then
Yeah, so it's
pursue
more
that?
about what other things I can do.
Yeah.
Plus also, the time that I'm spending at each property. So I've actually got a tracking device in my vehicle that plugs into the OBD port and enables me to see where I was at certain times of the day that I took, how long I was at each job for. So, and obviously coming from technology world and working in Telstra and stuff like that, I've got trackers on everything. So I've got trackers on lawnmowers, ride-ons,
Really?
all my tools. Yeah, just in case
Yeah.
stolen as well. Like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
they are in my trailer, I've got one. But I love technology, so I thought, how can I use it? So just having something that's plugged into the OBD port that tracks my day. I can pull it up on my phone, see where I was, how long I was at each job for, and I go, okay, I was there for an hour and a half. Half an hour of that might have been talking to the client. So how could I streamline this job to get another job in for the day, sort of thing, and free up more time to maybe do some other once-off stuff or some extra services for another client. So I'm always looking at that. I'm always looking at the clients that I've got. Are they working with me as well? Because some of them, you get a client that says, oh, you can only be here at this time and be here at this time and on this sort of day. It's really hard to work with that because you might be running early that day. So you need to have a conversation with them and say, look, let's make the job first thing in the morning, or, try and work around it if you can. If you can't agree, then you part ways. But I think I've ended up with, right now over 70 really good clients that are fully understanding and are really good. It's been 3 years of hard work weeding out some of the clients that are time wasters or take up a lot of time. But now I've got some really good clients and really happy with just the situation that we're in right now.
The brand of the tracker, what's the product that you recommend? Because I really love that idea.
Oh, so I'm just on my ride-ons and stuff. I've just got Apple AirTags.
Yep.
The one that's in my vehicle is Go Far. I think it is. It's like a $13 a month subscription.
Okay.
You plug it in, but paid for itself, even just once where I had, in my first couple of months of starting, I had a complaint come in, and the complaint was, Nathan hasn't come to do this quote yet. And I wrote back to the complaint to Shane, because it came through Shane, and Shane was, Nathan, you've got this complaint. I said, yeah, mate, I was definitely there. Here's a screenshot and a map which showed their location, and it showed that I got there at 10 o'clock as per the time that I told the client, left there at 10:08, so 8 past 10. I went back there at 11 o'clock, and it showed that I was there for another 10 minutes. And Shane was like, well, what were you doing there? I said, I was knocking on the door. Here's my screen capture of the calls that I was making. So you can see that I was there between that time and that time. And Shane just went, oh, thanks. That's all we needed to know. And complaint got dealt with. So
Jim would have wiped it, yeah.
Jim actually spoke to me about that one, and showed Jim the screenshots, and he was he just said, oh, no problems at all, done. So
I love hearing that, because I know the new Jim's jobs he wants to put all that tracking stuff as well to try and reduce that. Right. But I think that's a great suggestion. Well, great thing what you're doing in your business for franchisees, to get one of those trackers in the vehicle, because that's a really small price to pay, and you can have a lot of those things avoided. But the way you're looking at it, it's fantastic. So you're looking at how I can optimize my route, and you got all this data that I don't think a lot of franchisees even know. They're a lot of maybe working out in their heads, or they're putting a lot of the franchisees now will actually have their run sheets, and they'll put into ChatGPT and say, look at it and try and optimize it based on distances and stuff. But I think with the actual data from the vehicle, that's gold.
That's great. And you can get other devices as well that plug in with that device, which monitor your fuel usage and all that stuff as well. Yeah. So it'll tell you how you're driving, if it's aggressive or not, and you save money on fuel. I haven't gone to that extent with it, but it is great just knowing. And, most of the time I'm not even looking at it, on a daily basis, but it's always recording that data. So I can go back and I can go, okay, this week on that Monday, I only got 6 of my 8 jobs done. Why was that? I can pull it up and go, oh, that one there took a little bit longer, or it might have been longer grass or whatever. So you can sit there and work out, where you can possibly make some gains.
No, I love hearing that's a really good bit of practical advice. And I was going to say as well, with your equipment then, so what brand of equipment did you go for, or what is your sort of equipment setup you have in your area?
So I went around to a few different stores and looked at different equipment when I first started, and I formed a really good relationship. He just hit it off with someone at the store, and we just got talking, and it happened to be a STIHL shop. So I've gone STIHL branded everything, Honda mower. So it's still all petrol stuff, but I do have some backup electric. So I've got some Ego hedges and stuff like that as well, because I do like their hedges. So I haven't gone the full move into electric, and not saying that I won't, I definitely will. I just need to see, some real world application and how they go. And, it's a fair cost up front too, because you got to buy multiple batteries and stuff as well. So, I'm just waiting at this point now. So my tool's now starting to, after 3-4 years, we've done a couple of refreshes of tools in between, but it's starting to get to that point now where I'm going to go, okay, look, let's maybe do a full refresh and just get all new tools. So we'll look at electric when it comes to that, I'd say. So, but yeah, at this point in time, I'm happy with performance, Honda mower and STIHL branded stuff. But I think it's key to get a good relationship with somebody in a store that, when you take something in there and you go, hey, look, this hasn't started the last 2 jobs really well, that they're not just going to take it and say, oh, we'll have it back to you in 2 or 3 days. The guys that I take it to in Mount Barker, they'll take it in and they'll look at it in 10 minutes and they'll bring it back out. Yeah, all done, all fixed. We took a part off of a brand new one to get you on the road again, and we'll just order a new part for that other one, and that's just gold. That's what you need. So they're the ones that you take a 6-pack of beer to, or a carton of beer at Christmas, just to say thanks heaps for the work that you've done throughout the year, and they love it. So
advice. I've a few other mowing franchisees have said a similar thing to you. Get a good relationship with your mower shop, and they've said this very similar thing, and that sounds like it's a smart thing to do if you're looking at doing it. And I was going to say, Nathan, as well, last question from me. What advice would you have for someone looking at doing what you're doing? Because it can be quite difficult. You're in corporate for so long. You're used to doing the fortnightly wage, and you've got that sort of stuff happening. Yeah. And then it can be, and you've got that identity shift as well. A lot of times when you meet people that say, I'm Nathan, what do you do? I work here. And then that goes. And then you've got to there's a big loss and all that sort of stuff you might feel for a while. So what would you sort of advice you say around that?
Do your research. Call as many people as you can. Ask the franchisor that you're speaking to. Have you got some phone numbers of some people that I can talk to? Go out and do a couple of days in the field. Get a taste for it. But I can guarantee that, if you enjoy being outside, you enjoy talking to people, and you can do that well, everything else will just fall into place. My biggest fear when I started was, am I going to get enough leads? Am I going to get enough work? After the first week, I was drowning in leads. And I can honestly say I was getting 7 to 12 leads every single day. And after, I think it was about 2 weeks in, I said to Shane, I need to turn my leads off. And he said, why? I said, man, I can't keep up with all the quotes. I can't keep up with the work. And his advice was just roll with it. You'll get better at it. And I was staying up until midnight doing quotes and all this sort of stuff. And I was just drowning. But it got easier. I started to build a list of all my quotes and put all the notes into a document so that I could just go in there and go regular mow, copy, paste into the quote, put a price in there, press send. So just working through that. After about 3 or 4 weeks, I was just, well, okay, now we're starting to get into a bit of a flow. After 6 months, it was just game on. So really, you've got the backing of gyms, which is absolutely fantastic. And, you've got the backing of the systems as well. So all of this stuff just all falls into place. If you've got reservations, talk to people, you'll quickly find out that, just about everybody loves what they do, and, I'm really keen to help out. Ask as many questions as possible. But yeah, it's one of those things. If you want to put the hours in and make it work, it'll work.
Love hearing that. Thank you very much for your time today, Nathan, as well. And please make sure you check out Nathan's band on Spotify if you are in the
old band. We're not together anymore, but
But you got a reunion gig coming up. So, but what's the actual date for the reunion gig, and where is it?
I think it's Adelaide Unibar, and I think it's 11th of October or something like that. So if you
go, this will be out well before then. So
So if you go to the Ice on Mercury webpage or Facebook, it's we're just doing some teasers on there at the moment. But and look, it'll be fun. It's good too, because it's going to be an all ages gig, so the kids all want to come along and see what Dad used to do in his heyday. So,
is there any videos on YouTube? Because I'm going to tell my editor to try and find some. Like the music videos. So the editor watching this, go to YouTube, get some clips, and we're going to put it in, and we'll do something with it.
There's film clips on there and everything. So,
cool.
Yeah, we did quite a few. So we had some good times.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Nathan.
No worries, Shop. Thanks, folks.
Thank you for listening to the episode of the More Than Just Mowing podcast by Jim's Mowing. If you do need help with your local gardening expert, please give us a call on 131 546 for Australia, 0800 454 654 for New Zealand, or head to jimsmowing.com.au or jimsmowing.co.nz. If you liked what you heard, please make sure you leave us a review as well. Wherever you consume your podcast, we appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.